Bonjour and welcome to Tennis with Evelyn. Okay, we are at the business end of the French Open. The women's final is on Saturday and the semifinals were today and they were a very compelling matchup. I'm going to talk about my predictions, how they worked out today, and go over my predictions for Saturday. But I want to talk about the very compelling French player, Lois Boisson. And I got my little Francophile shirt here, my Le Bleu Feminine soccer shirt, and my favorite souvenir from France, from the aircraft carrier, Le Clemenceau. I traded my ball cap from my ship for that cap, and I think I got the better end of that trade. So I'm going to talk about Lois Boisson, the number 361 ranked player, and how did she advance? How in the world did somebody rank 361 advance so far into this tournament? Much less, how did she even get into this tournament? And she got in via a wild card. The French Federation hands out wild cards to promising junior players or promising young players, and Lois Boisson meets that criteria. So you get into the draw. Well, that usually means that you're probably going to see a top five or top 10 seed in the first round. Well, for her, she got a pretty favorable draw. She saw Elise Mertens, who was a number 24 seed, a very good player, but probably not the French Open being her favorite tournament. She's much better in the Australian and US Opens, much more accomplished there. And so Boisson was able to get through Elise Mertens in 3 sets. Okay, that means that you have eliminated, you're not going to have to see any seeded players for the next couple of rounds. She plays Kalinina, who is a good player on clay, but beats her. And then in the third round, she faces another French woman who got a wild card. Something tells me they've probably played before. She gets by her 7-5 in the third. So you're thinking, okay, well, this is the end of the line for her. No way that she's going to be able to beat Jessica Pegula. So, how do I think that she was able to beat Pegula? And I think it was just good old fashioned bad coaching from the Pegula side. For all of the resources at the disposal of Pegula, we know she's the daughter of a billionaire and she has a couple of marquee coaches. And I'm not just criticizing them, but she did not seem to be as well prepared for this match as Boisson was. Boisson was extremely well prepared. Her coach had to have done some scouting, and of course, it's probably hard to scout Boisson. There's not much to scout on, but Boisson was prepared for this, and she hit those slice backhands that was very disruptive. The pounding forehands that she was hitting. It was a tight, tough match, and she was able to pull that out. I was really impressed, and the reason why I say it was really good, a little bit of bad coaching for Pegula, but really good coaching from Boisson, is because she did not employ those tactics and that strategy in her next two finals, next two matches. She actually was hitting her two-handed backhand. So she obviously did have a game plan against Pegula, and it worked. All right, the next match, Andreeva. Oh, there's no way she's going to get by her. She's won the Indian Wells. Andreeva was in the semifinals last year. So what happened there? The crowd got to Andreeva. And we all know about what happened there with the ball boy and the code violations, and she just lost it. So everything, all of the stars aligned for Boisson. The getting in, the favorable draw, good coaching. They didn't really know a lot about her. The crowd getting behind her. That's what it looked like. What happened to me? Okay, so what happened today? Let's see. Let's see how much further she went. My predictions were that in the Sabalenka versus Swiatek, I predicted that Sabalenka would win. Was I right? Ding, I was right. It was close. I didn't know how it was going to go. What a couple of sets. It was Sabalenka racing up to a 3-love lead. It looked like she was going to go to 5-1. It went to 4-2 and then 5-4 for Swiatek. Somehow Sabalenka was able to hold her serve. Then they had a couple of breaks of serves into a tiebreaker. Sabalenka did not go into lockdown mode. She went into rocket mode. She won it 7-1 with big serves, big returns, and she gave no chance to Swiatek. To Swiatek's credit, she played probably the best set that I've seen her play this year. In that second set, she won it 6-4, got an early break, and consolidated it. Like I said, played her best set. I thought, okay, third set, Swiatek's going to win. Woo, was I wrong? Sabalenka, I don't know what in the world she had in that bottle, but it was unbelievable how she played in that third set. Serves, I don't, did she miss one? I don't even think Swiatek barely got a serve back. There were no errors from Sabalenka. She had zero unforced errors. It was truly an amazing match, probably one of the most dominant sets I've ever seen anyone play. She deserved it. Now, for Swiatek, at least she can breathe now. She's going into the part of the season where she doesn't have all these points to defend. Maybe the coaching hire of Wim Fissette is going to pay dividends at this point on grass or hard court. Hopefully that's the case. I did think it was really odd. He was on the set of TNT talking with all the commentators a half an hour before the match was even going to begin. And I thought that was kind of unusual. I thought, why are they interviewing him? I mean, other than the fact that he's got great hair, because he's not really the coach in the best situation right now, given that his charge has not been doing so well. You would think they would have been interviewing Dubrov of the Sabalenka team. Maybe he knows some of the people on the set, maybe knows Caroline Wozniacki, but I thought that was kind of odd for him to be out interviewing right before the match, but who knows? Just wanted to add that into it. Thought that was kind of interesting. All right, for the next matchup, it was Gauff versus Buisson. It was the second one on. I actually thought that Swiatek and Sabalenka was a little bit going to be the better matchup and should have been the marquee. I understand why it wasn't because of the scheduling, but I had the feeling that this one was probably not going to pan out very well for Buisson, and because I had predicted Gauff would win, and ding, I was right. It kind of looked like T-ball to me. I kept saying it's like T-ball out there for her. The Buisson shots, those top spin shots, they were just kind of hanging up there on the tee, and Gauff was swatting them away. It looked comfortable. Of course, it's easy for me to say it was comfortable. I'm sitting here in this nice chair, but it did look comfortable for Coco Gauff. A 6-1, 6-2 victory. The magical run ended, midnight struck in Paris, ding, and then she turned into a pumpkin. But what a magical ride it was for Buisson. And I think that Coco Gauff learned a lot from those matches. I'm sure she had a lot of scouting at this point. She wasn't going to be fooled or not be able to see some of those matches that Buisson had played before. So it ended for her, but it was a great match for Coco Gauff. Okay, so the final, how's it going to work out? Sabalenka looked scary good, especially in that third set. Sabalenka beat Zhang, who won the Paris Olympics last year at this tournament, at this stadium. And she beat Iga Swiatek, who is a three-time defending champ in this stadium. So she has had a really tough, trying draw. She's forged. She played the best set, I think. I don't know if I've ever seen any woman play a better set than that. That was like Serena Williams 2015 or Martina Navratilova 1983. That was an amazing, scary, good set. Gauff had a great match against Buisson. Hard to really measure how that's going to factor because by that point, Buisson, she was just sweating and she was bent over. That was not the way she was playing when she was playing against Pegula and Andreeva, and she just couldn't get that crowd. I told you the crowd, I was a little disappointed. Didn't see so many seats, saw a few empty seats, but it still was a great crowd, and she just wasn't able to get into it. They tried to help her, but Coco Gauff was just too much. So it's hard to gather from that match. Now, Gauff did have a tough match with Keys. I think that was her toughest opponent in this draw, and she was able to get by her in three sets. She also looked really good. She didn't have the double faults and the problems that she had. Of course, it was a more, like I said, relaxed and comfortable match for her. So with all of that said, they have a 5-5 head-to-head. Recently, there has been more in the favor of Sabalenka. She's had the better hand recently. The WTA finals was the one where Gauff won, but ever since last year's 2024 Australian Open semifinals, it's been predominantly Sabalenka. With that said, I'm going to go with Sabalenka. I just think that she's playing so well. It's her time, it's her moment. She's number one. I do think Coco Gauff is getting close. Who knows? She might get it this year, but I think it's really Sabalenka's year, and that last set she played was, like I said, scary good. Okay, well, we'll see how I do. Maybe I get it right, maybe I get it wrong. If as an American, I am rooting for Coco Gauff, but we'll see how it goes. Hey, please click like, please subscribe, and I hope you come back to my channel.